You're watching Rogers TV North Durham, Kawartha.
Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Jackie Hermans. So, I actually want to let everybody know I have a power yoga on Sundays at 9:15 a.m. If you want to join, you can. It's just $17 a class drop-in. So you can send me a message if that's something you're interested in. You can join my Facebook page, Uxbridge Yoga. So on today's show, we're going to be talking to CAA, and we've had a time change, and that is affecting driving conditions. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also talking to Leisha Van Nieuwenhove about the Santa Claus Parade for Uxbridge that is taking place on November the 19th. And we'll be talking to Mark Burney, the fire chief, about carbon monoxide detectors. So we have a whole lot of information to give out today, and we're going to have a great, exciting show. So I want to make sure you keep on watching. Stay tuned to the end of the show, where we'll give you information on how you can be a part of the show. So we'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Donations to the War Amps have a lasting impact on amputees. Today, your support gives them the artificial limbs and resources they need for everyday activities and learning to live with amputation. Having access to our essential programs helps amputees prepare for tomorrow on their road to independence. The War Amps is committed to improving the quality of life for Canadian amputees, but this wouldn't be possible without you. To learn how your donation helps, visit waramps.ca.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Van Bilsen, host of Photos and Travel, where we bring the world to your doorstep. In our next episode, we'll visit the magical land of South Korea, where we'll discover temples, lots of history, and some spectacular scenery. Join us right here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So with me on the show, we have Michael Stewart, who is, I want to make sure I get your title correct, Community Relations Consultant for CAA for South Central Ontario. Welcome to the show.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
So we already had a show about getting our winter tires on. And if you don't have your winter tires on, you should be getting that appointment ASAP.
Important to get those on before the winter hits.
Yeah, no, but we've also had a time change now. And the roads seem a bit more dangerous. Do you want to explain why the roads are a bit more dangerous once we have that time change?
Yes, so once the time change, of course, we're all creatures of habit, so we get used to a certain time, and then when we lose or gain an hour of sleep in the day, obviously that kind of throws us for a bit of a loop. So when the time changes, we start to have shorter mornings, longer evenings. We're losing daylight hours, and we're having a lot more times of dark weather out there, and even harsher weather, especially with snow coming and the winter months ahead. So that's why it gets a bit more dangerous on our roads when we're looking at things like that, and it's important to remind folks to be visible, make sure that they are using their vehicle's full lighting system, pedestrians making sure that they have bright and reflective clothing. So like my suit right now is very bright, so it would be pretty easy to spot me, which is good. And that's why we're here today, is just remind folks of those positive behavior changes that they can do.
Now, just the other night, I went for a dog walk, and my girlfriend joined me. And that at one point we separated to get back home. And then she texted me later. She said, I was almost hit twice. And she was just in front of the Legion. Someone was turning into the Legion parking lot, and another time was just like past that, I think we're in Uxbridge, so around the swimming pool area. And why is this happening all of a sudden? We drive at night, so like, what's the disconnect all of a sudden?
You're correct. We do drive at night all the time. Folks know that. They know when the sun goes down. But it's just, we're used to the sun going down so much later in the day. We're used to driving at night, say 9 or 10 p.m. But now we're kind of driving at night and it's 4:30, 5 p.m. and the sun's setting, it's dark out. We're not necessarily used to that yet. I know some people don't like that, and we kind of hold on to those daylight hours as much as we can. So it's just reminding ourselves that it is dark outside, so making sure that you are using your full vehicle lighting system. You actually have to have that on 30 minutes before sunset, up to 30 minutes after sunrise.
Okay.
So making sure you have that on there. And it's good you mentioned walking dogs. I also like to walk my dog, so I'm out in Curtis area, and I like to walk my dog there. She actually has reflective elements in her leash. Her harness is reflective, and she has more of a brightly colored jacket just to help with visibility. So it's one thing to make sure that you're visible as well as a pedestrian, but if you are walking a dog or walking your kids, making sure that they're visible as well, and drivers making sure that they are paying attention as well for pedestrians.
Now, if let's say you don't have a dog with reflective gear and you don't necessarily want to wear a big orange vest with an X on you, can you buy strips of reflective tape that you can just stick on to different parts of your coat?
Yep, you can certainly do that. There's also, so CA actually has free reflector tags in stores this time of year.
Okay.
There's limited quantities available, but if you visit a CA store, you can pick those up, and those can be attached to your purse, your jacket, backpack, just to help stay visible. But if you want to buy any reflective strips, putting those on parts of your body that are constantly in motion, so kind of like your wrists and your ankles, you don't necessarily want to just put them right on your chest or on your back, because those parts of your body aren't constantly in motion while you're walking.
Okay.
And also you want to kind of make sure it's circular, so it's not just drivers behind you that can see you or drivers in front of you. You want to make sure that no matter what direction traffic's coming, they can spot you.
Okay, excellent. So now you were talking about the lights, and you know how on your car you have those different stages. What is the rule of thumb when you're driving as to which stage it should be at during different times of the day? So not only like full on, you said 30 minutes before sunset, right? What about the other stages?
Yep, so the full on 30 minutes before sunset, and that's your full lighting system. So making sure that not just your headlights are on, but making sure that even your taillights are also illuminated. So that's that full stage. Obviously, when it comes to low visibility situations like rain or fog, you're also going to want to have those on as well during that time.
Okay.
And then in terms of high beams, that's more of when you are on darker roads and you don't see any traffic in front of you. Because if you have your full high beams on and there are cars approaching, you could actually end up impairing that driver's vision. So you want to make sure that you are not overly blinding other drivers on the road. So making sure that you're only using those in the proper situations.
Okay. Now, please excuse my ignorance on this one. When you have your lights and you first just turn it just one notch, is that considered your running lights?
So it does depend on the vehicle.
Okay.
So I know for my vehicle, it's kind of just all or nothing.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and
I have an
also
older
is-
vehicle.
So mine's also automatic, so it'll just sense when they need to be on, but sometimes I also just turn them on when I don't feel it has sensed it properly that these
Okay.
need to be on. But yeah, so sometimes if you're just on an older vehicle, so I think my old car used to have that, where it was
Yeah.
the first stage was just almost interior lighting, was
Yeah.
getting that set to go, and then I
Right.
had to switch it again to actually activate my headlights
Your
and
headlights.
my taillights. So
Okay.
making sure you are familiar with your vehicle, so reading your owner's manual. There's great YouTube videos out there for every type of car.
Okay.
So making sure that you're doing that so you know how your car works and make sure you can use your lights properly.
Thank you very much. So thank you so much for being on the show. We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
You must be the reporter. Come with me.
So, Miss McGill, how does it feel being Canada's famous women engineer?
The real story is the work we've done retooling this factory.
To build the Hawker Hurricane?
Indeed. 40 planes last month with a capacity of up to 100. Our fighters are over England as we speak. Of course, it pains me to see airplanes mass-produced like boxcars or baby carriages. But in war, we make concessions in favor of innovation.
You must feel at home, though, managing all of these women.
I'm not here to manage women.
Well, you must admit it is an unusual job.
I'm the chief engineer here. I do what engineers do. That's all.
What are we doing now?
We are to win this war. We need to know how she flies.
Elsie McGill was the world's first female aeronautical engineer. She oversaw Canada's production of Hawker Hurricanes during the Second World War, earning her the nickname Queen of the Hurricanes.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So I have Scugog Fire Chief Mark Burney with me here. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So we're talking about carbon monoxide detectors.
Yes.
So it's happened to me before where my detector has gone off.
Yes.
Might be a little like chirping sound. I'm like, okay. It's just, I don't know what's going on here. Like, is it battery? Is it like, what is this? So can we first talk about the difference, the different types of noises you're going to get out of it?
Sure,
and what you
100%.
should do?
Yeah. You know, when a CO detector, like a smoke alarm, is chirping, it's talking to you. It's saying either my battery's weak or it's time to replace me.
Okay.
Versus a full alarm is saying, I need to react.
And is a full alarm one of those?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's get your attention.
Let's get your attention.
You got to do something
and
now.
we have to react. We have to act on our escape plan, and then call 911.
All right. So when that alarm goes off, and it might be in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And I think when people hear fire alarms, they're more likely to react than the carbon monoxide detectors.
You're right.
But they're just as equally as imperative to react.
They are. You should act on your escape plan when a CO alarm goes off, just like you do when a smoke alarm goes off. 100%.
Okay.
The effects of CO to you and your, who you are as an individual is different. React. Use your home escape plan and escape. Call 911.
Okay, so I understand if you have any type of respiratory disease, what can the CO do to you?
Well, understanding what CO does to you, when things are normal, and then complicate it with any type of respiratory condition. CO eliminates oxygen. So if you're suffering from a respiratory condition that inherently oxygen, at its normal concentrations is very important to you, you need to react when those CO alarms go off, because inherently the oxygen is being displaced in the room that you're in.
Okay. All right. So it goes off. You're going to get outside. You're going to go to your meeting place.
Yes.
So you should always have that meeting place.
100%.
All right. And you're going to call 911.
Call 911.
Okay.
Yes, call 911. The fire department will respond. The fire department will also contact the local gas authority, and combined with them, we will determine what the issue is, if there in fact is an issue.
Okay.
A lot of times it is the chirping alarm talking to you saying, my battery's weak or I need to be replaced.
Okay, so just know the difference between the chirp chirp or the it's time to get out of the house.
100%.
And because it is a silent killer compared to I see smoke, I see fire, I think it's really good we're doing this to remind people it is just as important.
It is.
And calling 911 is important.
It is.
Do you hear that distinction from people? I didn't really know what I should do.
All the time.
CO. Okay.
All the time. And, again, more times than not, when we do get 911 calls for CO alarm activations, it is the chirp. And that's okay. It really, really is. Okay. We'd rather, educate you face to face than have to deal with a greater emergency because you didn't pay attention to the alarm.
Okay, I'm afraid I don't even know if I should ask this. If, let's say, it was the chirp and then the fire trucks come and you're having to educate, do the homeowners end up getting charged for the call?
No, not at all. Not at all. If you were negligent in providing adequate smoke alarm or CO protection to your home, then we might have a different conversation. But
Okay.
when we respond for the chirp versus the full alarm, something, an opportunity to educate you is a great opportunity for us.
Okay. Now, how many CO alarms should you have in your house?
That's a great question. The minimum is to have a working CO alarm outside your sleeping areas. So if you have just one sleeping area, perhaps on the second story of your home, one in that general area is adequate. If you have more than one sleeping area in your home, then one for each of those areas.
Okay. Yeah, in my old house, we had one in the basement because my daughter had a bedroom there. Also, the furnace is everything there. I thought we should have one anyways.
Sure.
And then one on the kitchen level, even though we didn't have bedrooms on that level, but we also had gas appliances.
Yes.
And then, so if you have gas appliances, should you be having that, an extra one on that kitchen level?
So let me answer your question this way. If your only gas appliance was your furnace in the basement and you put your CO alarm outside the furnace or in the area of the furnace, are you going to hear it on the second story?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Right.
Exactly. So what happens when CO is produced because of incombustion through your appliance? It travels throughout the entire home using your HVAC system. So inherently having it close to where you're sleeping and where you're going to hear it when you are sleeping is imperative.
Okay. Okay, most important.
Most important.
So at least outside the bedroom areas.
Correct.
And more if you want to make sure.
You can never put too many in.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Any last words for the viewers?
Well, something like fire safety, CO safety starts with you.
Okay.
And taking all the precautions you can as an individual for your home, your dwelling, for the family members in your home is as important as fire safety. So please take those precautions. If you have any questions, reach out to your local fire safety or your local fire department and ask the questions. We'll be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, and make sure that you call 911 if that a carbon monoxide detector is going off.
Please.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mark. It was really nice to have you on the show. We'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Lovely viewers, it's your host of On the Couch, Antoine El Hashim, reminding you to tune in for every episode of Season 9 of the longest running and most loved local queer talk show on Rogers TV. Check it out.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Van Bilsen, host of Photos and Travel, where we bring the world to your doorstep. In our next episode, we'll visit the magical land of South Korea, where we'll discover temples, lots of history, and some spectacular scenery. Join us right here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So we are talking Santa Claus Parade today. With me here is Leisha Van Nieuwenhoven, who is one of the committee members for the Santa Claus Parade. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very, very much.
Okay, so for the Uxbridge Parade, when is this happening?
November the 19th, Saturday, 11 o'clock.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, so when this is airing, it is this Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, so anything, what's happening this year? Anything new? Anything's coming back you're super excited about? Any surprises that maybe you can give us a hint about?
All of the above.
Okay.
Okay, the number one thing, of course, is that Santa's coming.
Okay, good.
He has been booked. He's guaranteed. He's taking time out of his schedule. He will be there. And I do believe Mrs. Claus is accompanying him this time. Kind of special.
Okay. So was she not there last year?
She was there, actually, last year.
Good.
But she's busy, elves, cookies, that sort of
so
thing.
sometimes she can't be there.
Sometimes, I guess. But this year, she's on board. So that's awesome. We've got a heap of floats. And people are still registering. Right at the moment, I think we've got like 35. That's just floats from local businesses and organizations and that sort of thing. They're all lined up on deck, ready to go. We've got some bands. Bands are coming back, which is kind of fun. COVID kind of took that away a little bit. COVID took the whole parade away for the 1 year. But we've got the Shriners floats that they've got the funny things. I know. I think the trains. I have to admit, some of the times the Shriners get a little bit mixed up on me. So I know that there's a few. And like there's the one with the potty at the back, and there's the train. And
don't they ride bikes too?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. They're the Shriners. They've got a great presence there. So I know they're on deck as well.
Okay, good.
And there are some surprises. And the rest of the elves on the committee told me that I wasn't allowed to divulge, but it would be well worth it.
Okay, was it last year that they had the cool Batman car? Okay, so it's going to be another super cool surprise. Okay, cool. Okay, so because this is airing the week of the parade, is there an opportunity for people last minute to still sneak in?
There is. My colleagues will probably shoot me for saying this. Not very Christmas appropriate. All we need is to know that they're going to be there, and we need, if they've got a float and kids and stuff like that, we do need proper insurance documents. We need that ahead of time, because otherwise it gets really crazy. Okay. We can register them online, or we did last year have some people show up day of, and it got a little bit wacky. So, if we have things in the latest on the Thursday before the parade, that would be tip top. Okay. But if people are just walking and they've got a banner, then we probably can slide them in, because they just need to have the waiver signed. That's all. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And
we're never going to say no. You can't say no at Christmas time, right?
So is it still from the arena, from the Uxbridge Arena, going all the way towards the high school?
Exactly.
Right?
That is the route. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Any recommendations for getting yourself set up, or when you should be getting yourself set up with your chairs and blankets and things like that?
Earlier better, always. I mean, it's great for the people right along Brock Street. They just have to haul out their stuff onto their porches and balconies, right? But the parade starts at 11, so if people are in place by 10:15, 10:30, just in case, especially right downtown, when it gets really congested around the Four Corners and that, it can be kind of crunchy there, I think. So earlier better, as long as the weather's okay. And we're really crossing all our fingers and toes and snowflakes to make sure that it all goes well.
Okay. And my kids would recommend for families to be closer to the arena so you get more candy. I heard that's because by the time at the end they usually run out.
It's gone
by then
because they're so exuberant at the beginning. Right, here we go.
Everyone. And they're like, okay, I'm getting a little tired now.
Not a bad strategy.
So
not
if you
bad
want
at all.
the candies, or if you don't want your kids jacked up on candies, go closer to the high school.
Hike on down to the high school,
right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, now have you heard if any stores around the area are doing anything special on that day?
I know that a couple are putting out little sale tables and having just their wares kind of on display. And I think that one of the realtors downtown is going to have some refreshments like hot chocolate, maybe cider or something like that.
Okay.
They're still planning that, so that's not 110%, but I know that that's happening. Sometimes the retailers like to wait until after the parade and all of the congestion of the people have gone, and then they kind of throw open their doors and say, we've got a parade thing going on. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll definitely be participating.
There'll be stuff to do.
Yeah.
Have you, is there a unique float that's coming up that you can talk about that you're like, oh, I think this one's going to be really neat to watch for?
I have. Well, yes. Interesting question.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't give you the heads up. It just kind of popped into my head and came out of my mouth.
Going through the list of people that are on board, I don't know the content of a lot of the float. Williamson's, for example, always does a great display.
Yeah.
They're always pretty slick put together. I know the BIA has some really interesting characters. I won't mention a certain Walt Disney movie that has to do with the cold. We've got Anna and Elsa on board, so that's kind of fun. I think I can talk about them.
Yeah.
So we've got the princesses coming, and I think that they're really going to do that one up right as well.
Nice.
So, but that's not to negate any of the others that.
Right, they're all going to be good. They're all going to be fun. Are the firefighters coming with their boots?
Yes, that is something to mention. The firefighters will be there at the beginning with their boots to collect for the food bank. And then we've got, I know the Bruins are collecting for the food bank and the toy drive, and I know that there are some other floats that have asked if they can take non-perishables along the way and or donations for the toy drive.
Okay, so bring change, bring toys, bring food.
Exactly.
Okay, wonderful.
Exactly.
Alicia, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Can't wait to see you at the parade.
I'm excited too. We'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
He fell. Whoa, I'm not driving. I'm way too stoned. How are you feeling, Beer?
Oh, since we had that talk, I'm not driving tonight at all.
What about you, Dave?
You only had a couple of drinks.
And only a couple of puffs.
I don't drink and drive. No way I'm getting behind the wheel when I smoked weed, too.
How are we getting home, then?
Oh, you can drive, Dave.
Come on, Dave.
Take one for the team, buddy.
Don't let weed and alcohol influence your decision to drive.
Yeah, I need a ride.
I'm Eric Marchinosa, Cinema Scene in Review. Join me for a monthly movie roundup of new releases either in theaters or available to stream. See you next time in Review.
Hi, I'm Constable Darrell Rice, Durham Regional Police Service. Tune into Rogers Cable 10 to watch me on Seniors Talk with DRPS, where we'll talk about all kinds of amazing information and community programs for you, our seniors in Durham Region.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So that is a wrap. Make sure you get that reflective gear to keep yourself safe if you're a pedestrian at nighttime. And if you are a driver, you know, we can be just in our zone where we're driving and we're not used to it getting dark so early, right? And so we really have to keep our eyes open for pedestrians, including dogs, small children running across the street. And if you haven't changed over those winter tires, please make sure you do that. Check your carbon monoxide detectors. And if you've had yours for a few years, maybe you want to think about replacing that. And if that carbon monoxide detector goes off, don't hesitate to call 911. So I'm super excited about the Uxbridge Santa Claus Parade. I hope to see you there November 19th in Uxbridge, and it starts at the Uxbridge Arena. And that Scugog Parade, that's got to be coming out soon. That's a night parade, which is always super cool. We'll be back next week with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. Bye.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
My Uncle Cheney was one of over 150,000 Indigenous children that were taken to residential schools between the 1800s and 1996. My uncle ran away from school wanting to get home to his mom and dad, and sadly he didn't make it and died of exposure. When Gord Downey found out about my late Uncle Cheney's story, he wrote Secret Path, a series of poems that became an album, then a graphic novel, a documentary, and a concert. Gord met my family, and together we formed the Gord Downey and Cheney Winjack Fund. Together we are sharing Secret